All right. So this is our group speech. We're going to talk about just a few things that happen during winter, 4 different topics, and as well as how they kind of differ across the world. We're going to start with Luke here, who's going to talk about winter's positive and negative effects on economics and just some certain jobs that come up strictly due to winter climate and the season.
As he said, my name's Luke Reventish, and I'll be talking about how the winter season affects the economy. Some negative effects of winter strictly happens to restaurants, and I'll be talking about how restaurants are affected. Restaurant sales tend to drop about 20% in the winter months, especially right around the holiday season. Some reasons of that being the temperature. If it's freezing weather and there's snow and ice on the ground, people will be less inclined to go out and get food. And specifically around the holiday time, people tend to stay indoors and spend time with family and prepare food with family and not go out. But winter isn't all bad. It does help a lot of specific businesses really well. First one of those being snow removal companies. It's a seasonal industry, so obviously with winter comes snow and ice in our area. Uh, Business tends to boom really well, especially if those businesses have contracts with other businesses or even the city. If you think about it, there's a lot of roads and parking lots that all have to be cleared. The next business I'll be talking about is the apparel and clothing businesses. Uh, during there are winter sports, as many will be speaking about, and those sports teams have to have uniform clothing for the sports. And just in general, there's a lot of people on this earth, and they all need winter clothing in the northern hemispheres. Next business I'll be speaking about is the holiday decorating business specifically. A lot of businesses tend to decorate around the holiday times, and if they're big enough, they may not do it themselves, so they might hire out. And then there's other people who may not be able to do it themselves, so they'll hire others to do it for them. Another business that tends to do well is auto repair businesses. Uh, with, as I mentioned earlier, snow removal, city plows, and such all their vehicles need to be maintained. So the auto industry, if they have contracts with them, tend to do very, very well. And then just people driving all around. College students, if they're going to drive back home, may want their vehicles to be checked out. So the auto repair place would be the people taking care of it. Another business would be the airlines and travel agencies, especially around the holiday times. Uh, if they're going to be flying around out of driving range, especially around the holidays, they'll do very well. And then the next industry being the vacation industries. As I was saying, if people are going to take vacations, they may want to go someplace warmer. So all the businesses in that area would be benefited from the vacations. Or if there's more brave people who would want to go to colder climates, ski resorts, and places where you can go snowmobiling, snowboarding, and such. So, like I said, the winter season does have a lot of effects on the economy. And thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Luke. Next, we are going to have Maddie here. She's going to tell us a little bit about Winter Olympics. She's going to give us a little description of some of the sports that we have in our Winter Olympics, a brief history of the Olympics, as well as where the Olympics have come to and where they are today.
All right, thank you. As he said, I am Maddie McHugh, and Since our group's topic is all about winter, I decided to tell you about the Winter Olympic Games from the beginning games until the current games. So, the first Winter Olympics occurred in 1924 in France. The original 5 sports were bobsleigh, curling, ice hockey, skiing, and skating. The games were held every 4 years from 1924 until 1936, but then they were interrupted by World War II, so they stopped the Winter Games until the war was over. So the Olympics started up again in 1948 after the war was over and continued to be held every 4 years. Up until 1992, the Winter and Summer Olympics were held in the same years, but then they changed it to alternating years. So the Winter Olympics has been on 3 different continents and 11 different countries. The U.S. hosted the Winter Games more than any other country for a total of 4 times. France, Austria, Canada, Japan, Italy, Norway, Switzerland, Germany, and Yugoslavia and Russia are the other countries that hosted the Winter Games. No Winter Games have ever been held in the Southern Hemisphere because it's important for the Winter Games to have snow, and the South doesn't always have snow. So moving on to medals. Austria, Canada, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and the U.S. have earned medals at every single Winter Olympic Games. The U.S. is the only country to win a gold medal every year at the Winter Olympics, or every Winter Olympics. In 1932, Winter Olympic Games were the first games held in the United States. The games were held in Lake Placid, New York, and opened by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but he wasn't the president at the time. Only 17 countries participated in 1932 games. The last Olympic Games held in the U.S. was in 2002 in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it hosted 77 nations and 2,399 athletes in 78 events in 7 sports. So, to recap, 70 years after the first games in the U.S., 60 more countries were added to the games. Currently, there are 15 different sports in the Winter Olympics, and each of those contain different events. So overall, there are 98 different events nowadays. So in conclusion, the Winter Olympic Games have changed a lot over time. Many different games were added, more countries are involved, and more gold medals come back to the USA.
All right. Thank you. Next is going to be Lexi, and she's going to give us a few dates as well as different traditions that take place across the world, as well as during the winter season, and how they impact their specific culture wherever they take place.
As mentioned, I am Lexi, and I will be talking about winter celebrations around the world. I'll talk about Diwali, Hanukkah, Ramadan, and last but not least, Christmas. So, first of all, Diwali is the Festival of Lights, celebrated on November 11th. It is celebrated by Hindus in India. Some traditions or some beliefs, they open the windows. All the windows are open. The Hindu goddess of wealth comes into the home, is believed to come into the home. Home has to have all the lights on, hence why it is the Festival of Lights. Much like our tradition, it gives presents and food to children and to their loved ones. Next is Hanukkah. It is 8 days in the Jewish calendar, which is also a festival of lights. It is celebrated on the eve of the 25th, December 25th. They have menorah candle, which is the candle that everybody knows as Hanukkah. It has 8 or 9 pindles on it, or like candles. A single candle is lit on the first night, and 2 candles are lit so on for the next 7 days. So that is the menorah candle in Hanukkah. Next is Ramadan. It is the 9th month on the Islamic calendar. Every day the Muslims fast. They don't eat their food. They don't drink anything all day. At night, they eat with their family. And that is said to purify the soul. Last but not least, we do have Christmas, which is our holiday that everybody knows of. It is December 24th, and it is celebrated worldwide. Not only with Christians, but even non-Christians, everybody celebrates it. It is celebrated with us, the birth of Jesus Christ. We give gifts, Christmas cards, go to church, have a special meal, and obviously decorate our house.
Awesome.
In conclusion, though, those are the four main holidays that is celebrated during the winter and Christmas times.
All right. And last but not least, we have Evan. Since our topic is winter, he will be talking about kind of the weather that happens during winter, talking about some record temperatures during winter, as well as the difference between seasonal changes and just the dynamics behind weather itself.
Thank you. Again, my name is Evan, and I'm just going to be talking a little bit about weather and winter weather in specific. So, did you know the biggest temperature record difference was held in eastern Russia, where the difference from winter to summer was negative 90 degrees Fahrenheit to 98 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a difference of 188 degrees in a single year. According to PlanetScience.com, everywhere on Earth has seasonal changes. Some just have bigger climate changes than others, depending on where they are in the world. Why we have seasonal changes is directly correlated with the tilt of the Earth on its axis. The Earth rotates around the Sun directly at 23.5 degrees approximately. In this speech, I'm going to show you why we have seasons, what causes weather, and a little bit about global climate change. It's good that the Earth is tilted at 23 degrees because it allows for seasonal changes. Without the tilt, the Earth would be rotating the Sun perpendicularly, which would have the equator be hotter than normal, and this would cause the equator to be constantly warmer, and then the atmosphere around the equator would simply diminish because of the UV lights coming from the Sun. Now, if you go the exact opposite, on the poles, the North and South poles, it would get extremely cold, and it would be about sub-zero for 24/7. So it would almost be impossible for life to occur even on the micro scale. The tilt of the Earth axis allows for latent heating of the Earth's surface. With this, it allows movement of air, wind, water, and moisture. With this, it's necessary for our planet's existence. This heating and cooling of the Earth's surface is what causes our weather. Weather is a movement of water in a liquid, gas, or solid form. The jet stream is what's responsible for this. The jet stream are winds that are high altitudes that rotates around the Earth. Now, someone might be thinking, how can we have global warming and continue to get colder winters? Well, first of all, global warming and global climate change are two totally different things. According to Newsmax.com, NASA defines global warming as the increase in the Earth has seen in the surface temperatures due to the rising greenhouse gases. Now, they say climate change is the temperatures due to long-term due to climate change of the Earth. This means it goes in both directions. So it gets hotter and colder. And the farther you go from the equator, the more it will increase. Now, today I hope you learned something more about weather and why it happens. Weather is crucial not only for our existence, but the planet itself. So now, whether you believe in global climate change or not, and as trends will continue to happen, we will get warmer and colder, and that's just a fact we'll have to deal with in the future.
All right. I hope you guys learned a little bit about the winter, a little bit about the Olympics and the history and where we've come today, a little something about the different traditions that happen across the world during the winter seasons, a little bit how winter actually happens, as well as the positive and negative economic effects that happen based on the season change. Thank you.